Hello, this is Ananya. In the last lecture, we finished with strings in Python. So today we'll be starting with a completely new topic in Python, that is lists. So we'll be studying what lists are and what different type of operations we can perform on it. So let's see what we have in store.
Well, I suppose we are a little familiar with lists, since I guess in my previous video regarding your inbuilt functions, we had discussed a little about lists, but that was very minor, So today we are going to study in depth about lists and all the operations that we can perform with lists. Okay, so what are lists? Let's just have a quick recap. List is a data type, like we have integers, int, float, string, all that, like those are data types. List is also a data type, but the fun fact is, it can store all the other data types. For example, you have a list. Okay, now lists are always indicated with square brackets. So you have a list, and inside that you can store any type of data type that you want to. For example, you have 1 here, which is an integer, 2.2, which is a float, hello is a string, again you have an integer. Now what you see here is, you see another sort of data type which is given to you in square brackets. Now whatever is given in square brackets is a list, right? We know that. So a list can also hold a list as one of its elements. Okay, it might sound a little confusing now, but yes, a list can also hold another list inside it. So you can have lists, strings, floats, integers, etc. Okay, always remember that they're shown inside square brackets. And list is a sort of sequence, like dictionaries, tuples, lists, they are all sequences. Now that we have understood the basics of what a list is, let's move ahead. We have previously studied about strings, right? We know that strings can be accessed by two indexes. That is, you have the positive index and the negative index. The exact same concept is applied to a list. If you can see here, you have the element 1, the integer 1. This is just like in string, it can be indexed by, or it can be accessed by the 0th index. Okay, so as usual it starts from 0 and not from 1. Indexing starts from 0, so we start from 0, 1, 2 and so on. So the length of list is basically 6, so the last element can be accessed by the index 5. Also, just like our previous concepts, you can start negative indexing backwards. That is, the last element of your list can be accessed by -1, then decremented by -1, then you get -2, -3, -4, 5, -5 and -6 and so on. So indexing is the exact copy like how we access string elements. Okay, now lists, if you see the heading here, I'm saying that lists are mutable. Now what is mutable is that it means that you can add, delete and modify the elements of the list. That is, it's not permanent. Okay, it's temporary and you can deal with it and you can mold it according to your preferences and operations throughout your entire code. Okay, so lists are mutable, but one point is here that tuples are not mutable. Now we shall see that in the upcoming lectures. For now, let's just understand that lists are mutable and you can deal and modify and mold your elements as and when you want. So you can perform various operations in lists, that is you can slice. We had also seen string slicing previously, so also you can access elements of the lists and slice them. You can add elements, modify elements according to your choice, delete some elements, or maybe clear the entire list. You don't want the list anymore. You can pop, remove, insert, concatenate. Like there's a horde of various things that you can do with lists. Alright, now getting to know about each of these operations, let's move ahead. Let's create a new file. So basically we'll try to cover all the possible operations that we can, so that it gives you a clear idea about how we can move about with lists. First we shall look at list slicing. Let me take an example. Let's take a previous example. Now let me just show you all one thing. If I just say list is equal to something, let's just say 1, 2, let's just keep it at that, you will get an error here. Why? Because list is already an inbuilt symbol. That is, list is a function that you can assign to a variable. So as you know, you cannot assign the inbuilt symbols and inbuilt keyword names to any variable. You have to modify it a little bit. So let's move ahead now. Let's take various examples. We have 1, 2, hello, then let's give 5.4 and another string. Now what I want to do is, I want to access the third element of this list. That is, I want to print the third element. What do? I know that indexing starts from 0. So 0, 1, 2. So list 1 of 2 will give me the third element, right? So list of 2. That's what we want, right? Let's run it. See, you get the third element, that is hello. Now what I want to do is, I want to print all the elements starting from hello till the end of the list. So just as we had seen in string slicing, you can give this something very similar to the range function. You can put it in square brackets and start from 2 up to the end. So your basic syntax is start, stop and count, step count. So we've given the start value, and it's not necessary to give the end value because we wanted to go right up to the end. So you have hello, 5.4 and bye. Now let's say we want everything from the start up till the fourth element. Now since we want the fourth element, we have to give one beyond that. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We have to provide the index 4 since we want it till the element 5.4. So you get 1, 2, hello, 5.4. Okay, this was all about slicing. We shall look at a pretty complicated slicing example pretty soon. Let's just get done with the basic examples that you need to know and all the functions that you have to know about lists. Okay, so let's just comment it saying slicing. We shall have a very interesting example coming up, so hold on and just keep learning in the process. Now let me say I want to, let me comment it. Let me say right now I want to change a certain element from this list. That is, I want to modify it. Let me say we are doing modifying right now. So we have the same list again. Now what I want to do is, I want to change the second element from 2.2, sorry, from 2 to 2.2, okay, or let's make it 2 to 3.3. What I simply say is list 1 of 1, that right, that is the first, at the first position. So list of 1 is equal to 2.2, or we had decided on 3.3. okay, so list 1 of 1, I want to make it 3.3. I don't want it to be 2 anymore. Okay, so let me print list 1 now. See, your first element, that is the element 2, gets transformed to 3.3. Okay, so now let's say we want to substitute more than one item with another, either string or number. So we just saw how to substitute a single element of the list. So what if we want to substitute more? So what we can simply do is, now that we know about for loops, we can apply that for this action. What we can say is, for I in range, let's say I want to substitute the elements from hello up to the end with 0. Okay, so my new list should be 1, 2, 0, 0, 0. So how do you think we can go about that? In the range function, you remember we had studied that we first give the start element and then the stop element, right? So our start element will be 2. Why? Because we have 0, 1 and 2. So 2 is the second position, right? So we say 2, and our end will be the length of the list. So we will not know every single time what the length of our list is, right? So we need to take something that is generalized. So the general stop number that we shall put is length of list 1. Now why length of list 1? Because I wanted to stop at after it replaces by. So by is basically the fourth, is at the fourth position here. So range function always takes the stop number just one time greater than where it is supposed to stop. So since I wanted to stop at 4, I shall give it as length of list. Now length of list is basically 5 here, right? So in short, it means for I in range 2 to 5, I shall say list of I, because it takes list of 2, list of 3 and so on, is equal to 0. As simple as that. You put it inside the for loop and substitute all the ith elements of the list as 0. Let's print it and see what we get. Okay, we nicely got our hello 5.4 and by substituted as 0. We again have the same list. Now what I want to do is, I want to say after by I want to have a string, say let's take anything, let's say dog. Okay, after the word by I want another string saying dog. So what I do is I use the function append. What it does is list1 dot append, and inside the brackets you give the element that you want to add. Let's say now we want dog, right? So list1 dot append dog, what it does is at the end of the string it basically adds the string dog at the end of the string, nowhere else but the end of the string. Okay, so let's print it now. We have print list1 see, after by you get dog. this is how you can append elements. Now let's append a number, or let's append 54. You have 54 after buy. So this basically gets modified, and you can append anything that you want. But what if I want to append maybe more than one item? Okay, in append you can add only one item, right? But what if I want to add more? I don't just want to add just one element. What I do is I say, okay, let's just keep it, never mind, we'll have an extra element. I say list1 dot extend. Okay, the function that we use for adding more than one elements is extend. Now let me say I have another list that I want to append to it, saying 4, 7, 12. I want this list to get appended to list 1. Okay, so this is more than one element. Let me comment this. So after buy I should be having 4, 7 and 12. See, after buy you have the three elements 4, 7 and 12 extended for you. Okay, so this is how we append a single element, append more, or extend more than one element. Okay, now let us say I want to insert a value at a specific position and not at us only at the end of the string. I want to append it at a certain position. Let's say 0, 1, 2. I want to append an element at the second position specifically. So now what I do is I use the function insert. Okay, the syntax is similar, list1 dot insert, and inside the function insert you have your parameters passed. So now that we had done inbuilt functions in our previous lectures, in case you all have seen that, you all can now understand a very thorough and clear idea about using as many inbuilt functions as possible. Right, now let's say, okay, now in insert what happens is you are basically, let me just explain it to you. Insert first takes your position. Okay, you have your position, and after that you have your value. This is the syntax of the function insert. Give the exact position you want to insert it in, and then you give the respective value. Okay, so I say I want it at position 2 and I want to give the character H. Okay, this is what I want. See, at position 2, 0, 1, 2, you have the letter H, and accordingly, since we had it at previously hello was at second position, now since we substituted that with the letter H, it automatically moves one step ahead. So we learned about append, extend and insert. So these were the three functions used for appending or basically adding any value. Now what I want to do is, let's say I want to concatenate. I want to concatenate values to the string. This is pretty similar to using any function such as append or extend, but let's just do it using the addition operator, that is the plus operator. What I say is print list of 1 plus, let's give another list saying 3, 87, 9. So I want this list to get concatenated to the first list. we could have done this using the extend function, right? But this is just an extra example that we are taking so that we understand the use of the plus operator while concatenating lists, and we had also seen concatenating strings using the plus operator. Okay, after by we have this set of elements added for you. Now if I want to say, let's take a new list this time. We have list 2 is equal to 3. Okay, I only have the element 3 here, and now what I want to do is I want to have many more 3's inside this list. So instead of sitting and typing that many 3's to append it, I can use a simple operator to do the same task. What I do is print list 2 into, maybe I say I want 4 more 3's, so I say into 4. So simply it multiplies that many elements into the list. So if you multiply 3 4 times, you will have 4 3's. Okay, let's see what's happening. See, since we multiplied it by the number 4, you will not get something like 12. It's not multiplying the very element with the number 4. It is basically multiplying that entire position with 4, so that you get that many more positions inside the list holding this exact same element. So 3, that is the list multiplied by 4, will give you that many 3's, that is 4 3's. Just to make it clear, let me give another element inside it. Now let us run it and see what's happening. See, you have 3 hello. This is 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, and 4th time. Okay, now I hope you all understand what exactly the multiplication operator does in the case of lists. Now we have done a lot of stuff, that is slicing, modifying, concatenating, etc. Now let's look, and now that we have done addition, we should also know about deleting, right? If we append, we should also know how to delete stuff. Okay, let's try out the deleting operation. Let all this be. I'll just comment it. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to remove whatever the last element might be. I want to remove it. Okay, now we are understanding about deletion processes. So whatever the last element, I don't know what it is, but I just want to remove it. So what I do is list1.pop. Okay, you have a function pop that always removes the item, okay, the last item present to you. List1.pop. Okay, I am not passing any parameter to it. Okay, I have to print it. See, by has been removed for you. So whenever you use pop, it will simply remove whatever the last element might be, it will be removed for you. Now let me say I want to clear this entire list. I don't want the list anymore. I pass the function clear, list1.clear. Let's see what we get. You get an empty list. Okay, it basically cleared all the elements for you. Now let's try out another deletion function. Let's say list1.remove. Now let me say I want to remove the second last element, that is 0 1 2 3. the item at position 3 is what I want to remove. So either you can say directly 5.4, you can directly say this. Okay, this is what I put it in a string. Okay, I don't know why I put it in a string, my fault. See, it removed the 5.4 element for you from the string. This time, let's say I do not know what elements are present inside the list. Okay, so I basically don't know if there's a hello or if there's a bye or if there's 1 or 3 or 2. I do not know. I just know the length of the list, and I want to delete certain positions present in the list. Okay, for example, I want to delete everything present from hello up to the end of the list. Here the length of the list is 5, right? Let's just print that out. I want to say, or rather check, length of the list. This is how we do it, right? So we get the length of list is 5. Okay, so from hello up to bye, I don't want it anymore. I want to get rid of it. So what do you think we can do? Should we do list1 dot remove hello, list1 dot remove 5.4, or remove bye? Should we make it that long, or maybe should we, what do you think we should do? Well, there's a simple way of doing it, and that is using the keyword del. Okay, del is actually delete. So you say del, you can check it out here. It says delete a certain keyword. All right, you can see the description given to you here. So I say delete list1. This is how the syntax goes. And remember our range function. So it's basically the concept of the range function you are using in slicing. All right, so here I am slicing it from the second element up to the fifth. Now fifth is actually the end of the list, which does not exist. So if I say 2 is to 5, that is how we slice. Okay, so delete list1 from 2 up to 5. Now 5 is the stop element. Now since it is 5, it will stop at 4, and 4 at the 4th position we have bye, and hence our task gets executed exactly how we want it to. So we get rid of hello, that is second, then third we get rid of 5.4, and then fourth we get rid of bye. Okay, that's how delete works. That is, if you want to delete multiple elements and you want to provide the position and not the exact element. Okay, so see, we have successfully deleted hello, 5.4 and bye from list 1. Alright, let's move ahead now. One last function we'll try and move ahead with practical examples. Let's say reverse. I want to reverse the elements present in the list. Okay, let's print it. See, it becomes the exact opposite. The elements, instead of going left to right, you have the last element in the first position, second last in the second position, and so on. So you can use the reverse function to reverse the elements in the list. Okay. Now let us look at a few simple examples, and our last example that we'll be solving in this lecture is going to be quite interesting. Yes, it is going to be complicated, but it's going to be really fun. Okay, I'll just go through these first 4 programs, and then we'll directly go to the IDE, solve these 4 and come back again. Alright, so we have traversing through a list. So basically we'll use the for loop and we'll traverse through a list. Then we want to remove the last 2 characters. Next we have accessing and appending. We'll see what that means. It's pretty simple, nothing complicated at all. And we again have a simple negative slicing example, just to make y'all familiar with exactly how to access elements and give you the thorough knowledge about it. Okay, so traversing, removing, appending, and negative slicing. Let's move ahead. So let's just comment all of this, or else let's just make a new file just to keep things very clean. So we have list programs. Let's take a list of 1 is equal to 345, any string. Let's give another string. Let's give some numbers. Okay, I think that's it. Now let's try out the first program, that was traversing. So we know about loops, right? So for I in list 1, we simply say print I. So what it does, it keeps iterating through this list, and one by one it gives us each element. See, you have 345, let kite 3.3. Now just to make it seem a little more making the interface look more user friendly, let's put it in a single line. We had learned this, right? So you have it in the same line for you. Now that we're done with the first example, let's try out the second one. What the second one says is, you have to remove the last 2 characters from the list. So we can have a very, very simple approach to it. Just call the pop function twice, list1.pop, again list1.pop. It will do the required action for you. But we don't want to write baby code, right? If we can try and make it a little more sophisticated. That's always preferable. So let's try and do that. We have the list. We take a for loop. So we say for I in range. Okay, now we are using the range function. So for I in range 0 to 2. Why 0 to 2? Because I wanted removing only 2 elements, not more than that. And now we call the pop function, and since we are not passing any parameter to the pop, it will simply remove the last element for us. That's it. So instead of writing pop twice, we put it in a loop. Looks more elegant, right? And now we print it. Okay, we have successfully removed the elements kite and 3.3 from the list. Let's move ahead with the third one. So what it says was accessing and appending, right? So what I basically wanted to do is, we'll take 2 lists, and okay, instead of explaining everything to y'all, let me type it out directly. Then there won't be lots of talking and no coding. Okay, we want another list L2, and let's give very simple elements inside it just to save time. Okay, this is our second list. Now what I want to do is, I want to append the 0th element, that is 3, of list 2 to list 1. Okay, so basically I'm appending a certain element of a list to another list. Very simple. We just play around with functions here. What we say is list1 dot append, and inside that we give L2 of 0. Okay, and we print it. Okay, so after 3.3 you have the 0th element of list 2 given to you inside list 1. You can also try out the insert and extend functions using two lists. Okay, that is your work to do. I'm going to move ahead for now. Now last one was negative indexing, right? So this is just for practice, you know, examples being taken just for your betterment. We have, I want to print list 1 minus 3 up to the end. Now where does minus 3 take us? We have another element here now, that is 3, since I am not commenting this. So we have minus 1, minus 2 and minus 3. So minus 3, and then I give the step count as minus 1. Okay, because if we keep doing minus 3 plus 1, it will become minus 2. Okay, we want to go at the end. Fine, let's try going at the end and then we'll try going forward. Okay, let's see what this gives us. It gives us kite 3.3 and 3. Okay, this is because I removed the minus 1 from there. So kite 3.3 and 3. Why are we getting 3 here? Because I haven't commented it right now, the previous example that we took. Now if I give a step count of minus 1, okay, it gives you kite, that is at position minus 3, minus 4, minus 2 and minus 1. Okay, so this is how you do negative indexing in lists. Pretty similar to strings if you're already familiar with string operations. Okay, now to the most interesting part of this video. I'm really looking forward to solving this example with you all. Okay, so we need to understand a little bit for this. So our question says is a little bit of complicated slicing. Okay, so what I want to do is, I have a string, any string, and from that string I want to use various characters using slicing and make another string out of it. For example, the sentence we'll be taking is, there is a horse standing in the meadow. Now I want to convert this sentence into another sentence that says, there are roses at home. Pretty interesting, right? You'll be using lots of slicing. It's going to get complicated at a point of time, but just keep concentrating and keep track of what's being typed on the IDE, then I'm sure you'll understand. So our sentence is, there is a horse standing in the meadow. Transform it into, there are roses at home. But before that, let's have a look at a little basic example, so that you all can maybe try out that problem by yourself and then come back and watch this video. Okay, now the very simple thing that we learned is, we can access the first element by 0, second element by 1. Now if I have this string here and I don't want to access this entire word, I only want to access the letter H. Okay, now this is basically slicing inside slicing. You know, that's basically the literal concept of it, because we sliced a list. Now inside the list we are slicing another string. Okay, so what you can do is, to access the letter H, you have to say list of 1, since the word hello is at position 1, and to access the letter H you have to say 1 and then 0. Why 0? Because the letter H is at the 0th position of the word hello. So I'm repeating again, hello is at the first position. So first we need to tell the interpreter to take the word hello, and from hello take the 0th position, that is letter H, and combine them and give me the answer. So hello, output of this portion, that is the first index 1 will give me hello, and index 0 of hello will give me H. Similarly, you have 1 of 1 will give me E, 1 of 2 will give you the first L, 1 of 3 will give you the second L, and lastly 1 of 4 will give you O. This is how you can carry out complicated string functions. Okay, not string functions, you can carry out this complicated sort of slicing, and this is exactly what we'll be doing right now. I hope you have understood this. In case you're still a little hesitant, please pause the video and just try it out by yourself. It will automatically become very clear to you. Now let's move ahead with our last example of this video. As I said, let's take a list. Let's just take L is equal to, I'm going to break that sentence into two parts. Okay, I'm going to say there is a horse. This is my first element, and my second half of the sentence will be my second element, that is standing in the meadow. This is my second element. So we have the entire sentence split into two parts, that is there is a horse standing in the meadow. Now all I have to do is keep slicing. Okay, our destination sentence is, let me just enlarge this for you. Our destination sentence is, there are roses at home. Okay, this is the sentence I want to make from the above sentence. So basically I'll try and access any character possible, maybe with negative indexing, positive indexing, anything, and I'm going to try and make this sentence. So I'm directly going to say print and start slicing. So our first word is there. In the second sentence we have there ready for us. Let's access that first. We say L of 0, and then we say start from the beginning until you reach the 6th character, that is 0 is basically this entire thing, and the second index, that is from the beginning up to the 6th character, is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, I am taking a space also because we need to continue with the next word, so we have to give the space to separate them, and since till the space it is the 5th character, I shall stop at 6. Okay, this is what I should get using the first slicing. Let me print this now just to know I'm going correctly. Yes, we are going correctly. Okay, now let's move ahead. Now we just saw how we can concatenate lists, right? So I'm using the plus operator to concatenate lists. Now what I want to say, is the word are. Now we don't have are ready for us here, right? So what we can do is we can take this A and this RE. Okay, so we have A, RE giving us R. So first let us access this A. So if you can check, it is basically at the 9th position of the 0th element. That is the first element, that is at position 0. This is the 9th character. Check it out. Let me see. Just keep checking again and again if you're going correctly, because it is not a good practice to solve the entire code and then run it to see if you have any errors, because then you're never going to understand where you've gone wrong. So it is a very good practice to keep solving 3-4 coding lines and keep checking if your program is running correctly or not. It helps you understand wherever you're going wrong or not. So yes, we did get an A. Now what I want to do is I want to concatenate it with this RE. Now this RE is at position 3 until 6. Why 6? Because again we are finishing with a word, we need a space. So 3, 4 and 5. So list of 0 up to 3 through 6. Okay, let's check again. Yes, we are going correctly. There are. Now we just have 3 more words to go, that is roses, at and home. Let's move on. Now what you can do is, we do not have roses at all anywhere here, right? But if you can see, the RO of roses can be accessed backwards, that is negative slicing, and SE gives you a complete word, that is rose. So you have RO and SE. So we have to do negative indexing for the letters R and O, right? So what we do is L of 0, and then we say, since they are backwards, they are at positions -3 and -5, -3 and -4, and we shall give -5 because we wanted to stop before it reaches H. So -3, start at -3, stop before -5, and the step count will be -1. Now why have you explicitly got to give -1? Because if you do not give -1, it will keep incrementing by a positive 1, right? So -3 plus 1, it will go to -2. So it will go to S and then it will go to E. That is not what we want, right? I exchanged the letters here. Okay. So we start at -3, -1 gives us -4, that is R and O. Now let's print SES. Okay, how can you access that? SE, as simple as that, you just give positive indexing, that is 14 unto 16. So plus L of 0, and then you have 14 and 15. Okay, I'm saying 16 because I wanted to stop before 16, and we have another S to give, so we'll just access the same 14th character, L of 0 and 14, right? Okay, so I should be getting there are roses from this. Okay, we are getting there are roses. See, it's pretty interesting, right? Let me just get this to the new line so y'all can have a complete view. Okay, so you can give this character just to continue on the next line. So there are roses. Okay, now I do not have any space here, so I'm just going to add another space. So how can we access a space? Just take anything, maybe let's say this character. I want to access this space character. I say L of 0 of 5, since it's at the 5th position. I say plus L of 0 of 5. So I get the space. Now I want to say at. How can we get at? Let's look. Okay, see, you have at here. Again, this is negative indexing, that we've got to go backwards. Now we shall say L of 1. Why 1? Because this part of the sentence is the first element in this list. Okay, so I'm going to say plus list of 1, and I've got to do negative indexing. Okay, this starts from -1, -2, -3 and so on. So just calculate and check. You will get the values to be -21 and -22. So let me just say that -21 unto -23, and my step count will be -1. So I get at. Now what I want to do is, yes, we are getting there are roses at. Now we are left with the word home and a full stop. Where can we get HO? We have HO here again. Let's concatenate it. L of 0 again, not 1. 0, 10 and 13. There are roses at HO. Now we have the last two characters left, that is ME. Now where can we find ME? Okay, we have ME here. Okay, so that is list 1. Okay, just count the characters. I guess that should be about 15. Yeah, so it should be 16 and 17, right? So 16 unto 18. Okay, now we want the last full stop also, right? So that becomes 19, 20, 21. Okay, so 22. So list of 22. I have to give 1. Okay, so I think we have completed our sentence. We have transformed there is a horse standing in the meadow to there are roses at home. Let's run it and see the final result. Bingo, we got there are roses at home. Okay, this was pretty interesting, quite long, but I hope you all have had fun. This was a slicing example that I really wanted to come up with and look forward to solving with you all. I hope you all understood. This was all about list. In the next lecture, we'll be looking at list comprehensions. Alright, bye-bye for now. See you soon.